I don't know where everybody is. We're supposed to do a Game Source Halloween special, and there's nobody around. Let me go down here this hallway real quick. Let me just turn on my flashlight here. That's better. That's better. That's better. Oh my gosh, what's that noise? So creepy. So creepy. So scary. It's okay. It's okay. It's a Game Source Halloween special. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Just fine. Just fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Where's everybody? Jamie? Lonnie? Game Source? What's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? What's that came across? There's a Pac-Man. There goes Pac-Man. Go. Pac-Man. Go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
What's up, world?
I just, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
They
Insert here.
Yo.
It's a terrible game. Bottom line. It's terrible in every way. Graphically, it's terrible. Gameplay is terrible. It's just terrible.
Angry Nick mad.
That game sucked, and it's gonna suck no matter how many revisions they make, and it just sucked even more because they put a Connect with it.
Angry Nick mad. Or if there's violence, I'll just laugh and enjoy the fun.
Kaz Hazari.
Kaz Harai. Harai.
They just kind of got tired of Angry Nick on the first one and said, I'm gonna pass.
Oh, yeah, so I do. It's me. Precisely.
No.
I
No.
do all my work.
No.
I'm
You guys
unfortunate.
are
I
so
don't.
cute.
Oh, thank you. I try.
I mean, let's face it, Mario and to a lesser extent Zelda is what carries Nintendo at this point.
Always be radical.
I love you, little podcast. You're the bestest thing ever.
For the promise of a new Super Smash Bros. In the Zelda game, yes.
You will not find a better story presented in any other game genre, in my personal opinion. Like, JRPGs have that. They have that story.
That's what the entire game felt like. Oh my god, I want to bang my head into a wall.
It's podcast again? Can someone remind me? I thought it was a video game podcast.
You're listening to the Game Source Podcast.
You are on the air.
Alright, well, welcome everybody to our... Don't mind the crazy noise in the background, that's just Gerald moaning.
Hey, Jamie, what's up, man? How are you? Everything's good? Okay. You've never looked better. All right, man. Degenerate 08 in the house right there for you.
It looks like
It's going to be OSU water polo. What's up, buddy? Oh, everything going okay? You're getting ready for BlizzCon? All right, man. That's awesome. Give me high five. Oh, no, maybe? No, don't leave me hanging, bro. What's up with that? All right, whatever.
Well, this is our annual Halloween podcast. Ooh.
It's not done at a live event this year. We apologize for that to those who were looking forward to hearing the sounds of screaming kids in the background and
It's live-ish.
animated monsters and all that sorts of in the background this year. So we apologize for that, but I think you'll live through it because we're excited and it's going to be a great show. Isn't that right? Who's here today?
Yes, it is. Sadly, we were hoping that we'd have some extra folks tonight, but it's just the original crew, Gerald and I.
I'm not. This is Nacho Daddy. You know why I'm Nacho Daddy? Because I'm Nacho Daddy.
Well, and
Angry Nick with his famous bear head. That's what he's going to be for Halloween.
Yeah,
Even scarier than I am.
the laughing stock of Game Source as usual, right?
I'm laughing.
Well, I guess the big topic to fire things off is the Xbox One price change. Is it, no pun intended, a game changer?
Well, let's elaborate. For those of you that have not been on the planet Earth when this was announced earlier this week, Microsoft announced as of 11/2, November 2nd, if you're watching this beforehand or if you're watching this after. So between November 2nd and the end of the year, which is roughly about, what, 8 or 9 weeks or so, give or take, the price of the Xbox One on all versions has been reduced for $50 for each bundle. That means, for instance, that's a big change. That's a big to do because it completely changes the price point of everything as far as it's concerned. May make a lot of decisions for a lot of people and may change a lot of others for quite a few people. So, for instance, the bundle that comes, the white one that just came out this week with Sunset Overdrive, that will be reduced to $349. For instance, the one that bundled with the two Assassin's Creed games without Kinect, I believe, will also be at $349. Unfortunately, they're not in this country bundling an Xbox One, the Master Chief Collection, which is extremely disappointing and distressing to me. But when I plan on, getting an Xbox One this holiday, so we'll have to get that most definitely because that looks like an outstanding game, and I can't wait for that one. It is the reason why I'm buying an Xbox One, by the way. But also, if you are interested in the Kinect, which I may still be interested in Kinect because it still has some features which I'm looking for. That has been reduced from $499 to $449, and also let's not forget the Call of Duty Special Edition Xbox One with a 1 terabyte hard drive, which is the difference for many wondering why, if it doesn't have Kinect, why is it still priced so high? And that's the reason why, is because it's got a larger hard drive. That has also been reduced $50 to $449 as well. So our question originally that you sent out there, Nick, was, is this going to be a game changer? Is this Microsoft's last stand for this year? I know right around the time of Destiny, if you recall, back in September, they were doing a deal where they gave an extra game free with the purchase of an Xbox One. And although that did spike some interest for that week that the sales were strong on it, unfortunately, it still didn't overcome in this market, the U.S. market, sales of the Xbox One did get still defeated by PlayStation 4 overall for the month of September. So I think that sent a message to Microsoft and Xbox that they have to make even more drastic changes. So they had to bite the bullet and reduce the price for the holiday season, and I think that's going to sway a lot of people. Plus, also the fact that the first-party software that's out there that's coming this fall is primarily between Nintendo and Microsoft, because Sony, DriveClaw, well, that's been a disaster. As you mentioned before in your previous podcast number 108, which you can either download or watch off of our YouTube page. It's just been horrible, and that was supposed to be the main first-party title this fall from Sony. And also, as well, you have Little Big Planet 3, but that's, even with any kind of advertising, that's still not going to break any ground or move any needles. So, my question to you, Nick, you from Nacho Daddy, is what do you think, as far as is concerned, is going to move the needle in this case? Do you think it's going to be the Xbox One, or do you think it's still going to stay in the hands of the PlayStation 4? Do you think that train is still going very strong for PlayStation?
I think it all comes down to what's going to be available in terms of software. And I mean, I don't know. I think Microsoft continues to struggle in its efforts to I don't want to say to underhand Sony necessarily, but in their efforts to try to streamline themselves and align themselves more with the respectability that.
But you got to admit, this is it's more it's more attractive right now for this holiday season.
Oh no, absolutely.
especially
not.
with Sunset Overdrive, especially with
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 2 that just came out,
Yeah.
especially with the Master Chief Collection, which looks like an awesome deal at $60 to get Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4, and all the maps for it, which I believe encompasses over 90 multiplayer maps,
Mhm.
both either redone or left as is, and they're all going to be upgraded. The whole thing is going to be upgraded to 1080, 60 frames a second, so it's going to look sweet. Even the older versions from back, and I'd like telling you, Nick, that was a deal breaker for me. I'm going to go ahead and get an Xbox One this fall.
No, I
So,
mean, and even having had the opportunity to at E3 to be able to see Sunset Overdrive and to see the Halo collection, I know there's obviously a tremendous amount of excitement and hype, especially when it comes to Halo, of course, because it's Halo. But I mean, it does certainly make the Xbox One a more attractive offer for the holiday seasons, and really this is the best time they could have really pushed forward for that. Now, whether that was their plan the entire year, who knows? But
well, I know when it comes to the price change, I think that was just a measure of they saw some sales spike when they did that offer in September of an extra game free. But I don't. They were kind of surprised. I think the whole video game industry was still surprised that even that did not sway people as far as overall for the rest of the month. That didn't do enough to get them over the hump. And basically, it's going to be this: if a $50 price cut, unless PlayStation and Sony change their minds and matches the price, if that doesn't sway people this holiday, and Xbox One does not overcome the PlayStation 4. What happened? Oh, it's like in like another region there, man. I'm telling you, Halloween haunted. If the Xbox One, if this doesn't make it the choice this holiday season, because Nintendo, everybody's getting hyped up for Super Smash, and I want to bring that in there, but they're still not thinking clearly. And we'll touch on more Nintendo in a bit here, but them not producing a Super Smash bundle, I still think is it's the same as Microsoft with the Master Chief Collection. Although I'm going to tell you right now in the books, when Halo 5 comes out next year, they're going to bundle a Master Chief Collection as part of that. They'll do one next year, which to me is a little too late because I already have it by then. But I'm just concerned. People also are getting back into the Wii U, but will that be enough? Because with a bundle, proper bundle for that Nintendo could have done with an amiibo, a GameCube controller, and the game would have been nice around 350 itself. But then you have the Xbox One, a much more powerful unit at the same price. So it's, like I said, it just throws everything out of whack, and you get a free game with it on top of that. So it really makes it more attractive. So, this is now or never for Microsoft and Xbox. I know it's early on. It's only into
I
its
don't think
second
I
year,
don't
but I
think
think this is a make it or break right now because they're behind in the game and they're taking
I
drastic
don't think
measures. And it's great to see. It's great to see for us gamers.
I don't think that I don't think that the sales are going to be astronomical and blow Sony out of the water if that's what you're asking.
Well,
However,
I think with the general consumer, they just know that the PlayStation 4 is the number one seller right now, and just because of that, even though there is a price difference, there is going to be some people just buying a PlayStation 4 because that's what their kid thinks that they think their kids want is a
well,
PlayStation 4.
yeah, and I get that, but I mean, having had the opportunity, I mean, Sunset Overdrive was an amazing game. I mean, it looked great at D3, and I definitely think if they were going to bundle a game, that is an excellent game to bundle it up with. In terms of, I don't know.
Well, their intention, though, that I will say that Phil Spencer did say in an interview with IGN that reason why he did that he was to send a message to not to consumers per se, but it was more of a message to Insomniac, who is not a first party studio, but to let them know their support and their continued support of the game and the fact that they might, if it does well enough, that they're willing to get behind a series for this exclusive to the Xbox One.
Well, I guess only time will tell. I mean, it all I guess it all depends if Sony decides to come out with any big bundle or anything. Yeah, I think ultimately when folks are, the consumers in this case are seeing any console bundled with game or games, they're gonna obviously it's gonna incentivize them to lean one way or the other. Now, obviously, the price reduction on the Xbox One makes it a much more incentive purchase at this point, and quite frankly, probably one of the few, if only, reasons to buy it at this point, because really neither system, like we had discussed in our last podcast, has really cranked out any whether they be proprietary titles or first or third party titles that really were motivation enough to even purchase either one of the consoles, really, in my opinion. But and Destiny certainly wasn't a seller, and even though it was even though it's fundamentally a pretty good game, it's definitely not I have to go out and buy a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One.
Well, no, I disagree with you. It did move those units. It did because of the Destiny bundle. And that's the reason why Sony PlayStation still won in September, even with the deal that was offered by Microsoft, is because people were attracted to that PlayStation 4 bundle. And Destiny did move a lot of units. That bundle did. But as a single entity, well, hold on, let me see. Let me tell you, as a single entity, people buying Destiny alone bought more on the Xbox One, but that doesn't count the bundles. So that tells me that a lot of people, the reason why PlayStation 4 was still out on top is because they were buying that Destiny bundle. Now, overall, okay, yes, Destiny did not, set the world on fire, but people are still playing it, people are still loving it, and I still think by the end of the year, it still will sell, 9 to 10 million copies, and when all is said and done, it may not be the world breaker that that they had hoped it would be, but it's a very strong title sales wise for them.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess the way I feel about it is that only time is going to tell this season. I mean, again, it's definitely a greater incentive when you're provided a reason to actually purchase a console, versus just getting it and then sitting on it for 6 months while you wait for games that are actually worth purchasing to come out. So
there's not only some great games that are coming out this fall.
But Black Friday, as you know, though, is going to be the ultimate determination on it's going to be over the hump, and that's really going to impact, the holiday season to follow thereafter is based on a lot. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's going to be not primarily maybe, but it's going to be very much based on what the outcome of what the Black Friday deals are going to be. Because if titles are going to be having ridiculous sales, if you can purchase a bunch of Xbox One titles or PS4 titles ahead of time, and then you have the incentive at this point to go ahead and purchase your Xbox One bundle at with the price reduction and to get the additional game, or if you veer off to get a PS4, and whether that be the Destiny bundle or if Sony decides to come out with a package holiday deal like they oftentimes do, you're really getting a bigger bang for your buck. So I don't know. It's hard to say who's going to be. I don't think, if anything, Microsoft may potentially, come as a close runner-up. I don't think Nintendo's really gonna be anywhere. But I mean, this might boost Microsoft sales, but I don't think it's going to be exponential enough to overturn Sony.
Definitely will be more interesting now because of that. And if you get a chance, well, first off, while we're on that subject, if you get a chance, check out my blog that I wrote on the industry because of the Microsoft price change. I wrote that blog. Well, actually, it's on my page, the Yes Elvis Lives page, yourgamesource.com/Yes Elvis Lives, one word. Yes Elvis Lives .html. And then also as well next week we're going to do a +1 on the basically impending console war this holiday season, among other topics, and then also the Black Friday page, our infamous Black Friday page, which comes up every year around this time. It's going to be coming up probably in the next few days, next week, basically because the deals start trickling in. We noticed already some deals from Kmart, Best Buy, and Target that are coming up before Black Friday, and actually the first part of November. So we posted those on our Game Source Facebook page, and if you haven't liked us yet, you need to like us there so you get all the latest news. So the retailers themselves are taking notice, and it's really becoming quite interesting indeed. And actually, this all started because there was a Kmart leaked ad that had said that it was $50 off, but nobody knew that was going to be at least a semi permanent for, well, at least for 8-9 weeks price change indeed. So that's quite surprising. Quite a good move by Microsoft that they're willing to bite the bullet, especially on their bundles that actually have games with them, and it's great to see. And for you, me, and everyone else out there, all the consumers, it makes it definitely, if you're shopping for a console this season, it makes it definitely more interesting indeed. So, what's next?
Well, I guess I don't know if I know based on what we were going to discuss. I know you said Nintendo had reported profits in the second quarter.
That's correct. They just had their well, a lot of companies right now are announcing their second quarter results, and
Aren't we almost approaching the end of third?
Pardon?
Aren't we almost approaching the end of the third quarter? Isn't that a little bit late to release the second quarter?
No, that's when most companies are actually, they tell you how they were doing this summer and things of that nature.
No.
Because I find it takes a lot to total up the financials and things of that nature. You have to report it to your shareholders and things like that. A lot of companies right now are this week we're in the process of doing that. Capcom, among others, WWE, several others who are actually doing the same thing as well. But with Nintendo is posting a decent profit. Well, from the years recently of them failing so miserably and us laughing at them the whole way. This is definitely quite a change of pace, and you can attribute that basic.
Their profits are generally probably from their 3DS titles, though, not their Wii U.
Mario Kart 8 was nice for them. It did provide a surge, as was expected. Even though the staying power on Mario Kart 8 wasn't what they would hope to be, it still provided a nice little surge. And I think also as well with the Pokemon's coming out soon, and Super Smash Brothers that has sold over between 4 or 5 million already in 3DS sales, spiking the interest of people worldwide in the game. Truly was a good sign. And that's really just even gives more impetus and more interest into the Wii U as far as it's concerned when Super Smash Brothers comes out in November. So plus also as well the critical ravings over Bayonetta 2, which many are already shooing in as the game of the year for many publications, because I've seen quite a few nines and a halves, and tens bandied around. So if that, the game is not heavily marketed or heavily advertised, but word of mouth, because it's such a strong game, may gain a lot of interest. Hyrule Warriors was a really solid title for the Wii U as well. That should push a few copies. But right now, basically, it's always about Super Smash, and the general public is really excited about Super Smash. And like I said, they should have done a bundle. They should have had a bundle present and available with Super Smash. I cannot stress that enough. I know I've been called ridiculous for saying such a thing, among other things, but I really think it would have been a smarter move, because I think some retailers are going to try and do something bundle-ish anyways on the actual Super Smash title when it comes out later, in November. So. But your thoughts on Nintendo, Nick, especially with the Pokemons also coming out, because there's big pre-orders on the next Pokemon games coming out, and your thoughts on the actual success of Nintendo this holiday season.
I mean, like I I kind of detailed in the my last go around with what we discussed before, I just don't think Nintendo's going to be really much of a contender as far as the holiday season goes. I mean, I don't really understand a lot of the decisions that Nintendo's made. I mean, especially in recently, when we had discussed their changes in their new quote unquote 3DS and making some of the game software proprietary to that new device. I just don't. I don't know if I think. I know that Nintendo obviously has and will always have a very strong consumer follow. That's just Nintendo. They will have consumer following them time and time again, regardless of what stupid decisions they decide to make. But I don't know if that necessarily drastically impacted the consumers' purchasing decisions this holiday season. But I just don't know, even with the software that'll be available on the Nintendo Wii U and 3DS this holiday season, it's gonna. I don't think it's really gonna be anything substantial for them.
Okay. I disagree. I think they're going to surprise some people. I think I think it's going to be Super Smash gaining a lot of interest. I think you'll be surprised. Whether this amiibo thing ever kicks in, like Skylanders or Disney Infinity, is another story. But definitely, people will have a genuine interest. I think there's a lot of old school interest and a lot of general consumer interest in the Wii U. So I think the race overall for each console will be a lot tighter than people you know have imagined. At least I would have imagined, 6 to 9 months ago. But it does definitely, to me, look like a much better race. But it all depends on, like I said, retailers, how they price these bundles, because people are going to come in that are buying a Wii U, and they only want to buy Super Smash. And, they want the amiibo and the other pack, because the only bundle package right now currently is, sorry, my mask is kind of itchy. The What was I going to say? Oh yes, the bundle that's available is a $99 bundle with a GameCube controller, and then the game itself, which does not quite the bundle I'm looking for, but some retailers are going to try and smash that with sorry, pardon the pun, going to smash that with the console itself. And I think that's going to be something of great interest to people. It just depends, if they do it at $350, $400, that's not attractive. But if they do it at $3, that could definitely be a game changer as well.
If they maybe did $299 with a game.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, kind of moving into the next, which kind of is related but unrelated. In terms
related but unrelated.
Yes, because Call of Duty is not a Nintendo product. However,
is that like your kids?
It is related. It is related to what we were discussing. So, has Call of Duty lost its momentum? I have been saying this for a very, very long time. Has it finally burnt out? Please tell me yes.
Well, not if you ask Kevin Spacey. He's
okay. Kevin Spacey does make that game.
See, that's the thing. It's creating a lot of interest. It all depends on who you talk to, because a lot of consumers, a lot of gamers who've strayed away from the Call of Duty series are suddenly reinvigorated and have regained a new interest in the game because of the Kevin Spacey inclusion. So they're thinking, oh yeah, it looks kind of good. I think I may want to at least give it a try again.
Don't get me wrong.
Whereas you have a lot of pundits that are saying, well, pre-orders are down, that means the overall sales is going to be down even from what Ghosts were doing.
The game does look very good, but it's still in its core, and I love Kevin Spacey. That guy's great actor, but I that's not gonna. I just don't know if that's gonna really sell the game. I mean, it's still the same at its core. It's still the same Call of Duty, and to be honest with you, Ghosts wasn't really anything very impressive.
Well, that's why the sales of Ghosts suffered.
Yeah, I mean, And for what I've seen, again at E3 and the content, the material, that's been available online in terms of gameplay footage, it's very impressive. And on the next gen consoles, I'm sure it'll look amazing. They've obviously integrated a number of new types of technology and things of that nature to help enhance your gameplay, hence Advanced Warfare. However, at its core, it's still the same Call of Duty. I saw something that earlier before the podcast that there was some video leaked of the zombie, of the zombie portion of the game. Oh, big surprise there.
But the exoskeleton's supposed to give you new powers, new jumps, new getting
But
going.
it's still the same. So now they just intermingled Titanfall with Call of Duty.
A little bit, not entirely, but yes, I understand what you're talking about.
So I think I think Call of Duty is starting to go in the toilet. So they might want to maybe take some time to figure out another game. But
they will.
But maybe they can use the power of the Force. They can use the power of the Force, and which leads us into our next topic about Star Wars games.
Well, we're going to talk about that topic, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Right after this message. Okay, that was great. So, was it good for you too? Yeah, that's what I thought, Nick. Okay. Well, recently, Star Wars fans and such as myself, Star Wars has we've had a love and hate affair. Excuse my language with the H word there, but had with with Star Wars games over the past 20 years or so, and it's just we want this the games themselves when they come from the Star Wars universe to be so good, so well made, and so developed as the original Star Wars movies were, that sometimes when they don't meet up to those expectations, excuse me, Night of the Old Republic, excuse me, MMO, that was like recent times, they're still struggling to find an audience for that game continuously.
You should get that coffee with that.
Yes, I know. Tell me about it. And not the original KOTOR 2, which now, as part of the package of Lucasfilm games, they're going to be now, actually put on GOG.com. Which is not up to the level of popularity of Steam, but as the number 2 PC game provider, as far as it's concerned, it's still a nice place to be. And if you didn't hear the news, Disney and Lucasfilm have released a lot of those older games, which included such hits as TIE Fighter, X-Wing Fighter. As far as it's concerned, like I said, the old KOTORs, among others, that just are going to be released or have been released on GOG.com for certain prices. I think most right around $10, if I'm not mistaken, each. Which for retro games like playing at early 1990s games might be a little much, but that's Disney. What do you expect? The reason why we're including it on this podcast is because we posted that news here and on one of our other Facebook sites, and it just seemed to really gain a lot of interest. I mean, it spiked interest to levels where you're at E3 and the news that we were sharing regarding Destiny back in September. There were hundreds and hundreds of people and thousands of people actually just interested in actually learning more about how they can get their hands on these older games. Begs the question, Nick, especially with Star Wars coming out next year, the actual movie is concerned, Episode 7, and you're talking about those older games. What sense of nostalgia do you have, as far as it's concerned, for those games that were, right around the time you were born, sir?
Well, I don't really.
In some cases.
I don't really. I've not been much into much of the Star Wars genre. I've watched the movies, but I I can tell you from the hype, like I still remember when we were at the EA press conference, at E3. Not this year, I believe it was last year, if I recall correctly. Um, and sitting in the audience, and when a brief clip of, a brief clip of the new Star Wars coming up on there, and then when I say brief, I mean I think it was like literally a couple seconds. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh no, it is,
And
and that's
I
and
think
that was
everybody
just
just got up, and I not really so much got up, but everybody was just cheering and screaming because they were just, that was what they wanted to see. So I mean, I think Star Wars has potential, but I mean, and I shouldn't say I didn't have too much experience with the games. I know that I had played. Oh my goodness, I can't remember the two games.
well, what I'm just trying to say is, because EA, and this tied into something else we were going to talk about, is EA's recent, announcement, because it had its shareholder meeting this week, and it announced officially a March date for Battlefield Hardline. But the most interesting thing was Star Wars Battlefront, which was at one time they were targeting a summer 2015 release, and you knew that wasn't going to happen. That was going to be a fall title for them. They were saying Battlefield 5 was going to be in fall, and that was a bunch of baloney. So basically, now that they're going to do what they should be doing all along, and it's that it's going to be a holiday 2015 release, and basically tie in right around when the movie comes out. So, that's going to be a big nostalgia. So I think it's a good sign for EA, because if they have a well-crafted game, hopefully they won't incur the same issues as Battlefield 4 with all the online issues. But if they actually are focused on what they're doing with this game, and it's done really at the level that Disney, Lucasfilm, well, whatever's left of Lucasfilm anyways, are looking for, then it really could be a major hit for EA this next holiday, excuse me, because the Star Wars games, and the point was with this whole story was that even just the mention of Star Wars, brings so much nostalgia to a lot of people, and done in the right way could really gain a lot of interest. I mean, if the internet's exploding and trending, hugely, because people were excited about 1991 and 92 and older Star Wars games, for that matter, on a PC game service. If that blew up the internet with Star Wars, just imagine once Star Wars Battlefront comes out next year, what really interest that could make. I mean, that could really be something that changes the game entirely, and have Activision, Call of Duty, and their Destiny and whatnot really on its heels. So that was pretty much what I was trying to tie into, is the great interest and nostalgia that Star Wars still has even to this day, and especially next year when the anticipation is building to next holiday season for when the movie comes out. That's just going to make it even more attractive for EA to release that game. So.
Well,
and then I would love to kill you with a lightsaber, by the way, in Star Wars Battlefront. So you better be getting it next holiday.
Yeah, we'll see about that, buddy. So I guess a true Halloween question.
This is just my lightsaber. Slicing him in half. I'm slicing him in half now.
What a good way. What a good last question to wrap up the Halloween podcast. Has a game ever truly scared you?
Well, you scare me all the time every time I talk to you, but we'll start off with the one true time I was scared, and it's a story that you and I like to tell often, and involves you. Left 4 Dead 2. And it happened to be someone scary in both of our lives, your ex-wife. Scary because I even knew her, and scary even more because you knew her. Although you got 2 great kids, so that's like a saving grace and all that. So, that's the time I've truly been scared. Is not when she threw, that famous story when she threw the Molotov cocktail on both of us.
Oh, okay.
Unintentionally, I might add, and you see that
Yeah.
in air quotes there. But the fact is that when you're especially on the bridge level and you're basically running for your life and you're just the adrenaline's pumping and you're just scared out of your mind and you're just running and we're all just screaming, run, run, run at the top of our lungs and you know, where's and then we're all screaming, where's your ex-wife? What? I don't want to even name or mention her name. Not even worth my time. But we're like, where is she at? Where is she at? Where is she at? And we're just all screaming and panicking. That to me was scary. Because I've been played Dead Space. It jumps out. Oh yeah, big deal. It jumps out, big deal. I'll ask, okay, it jumps out at you. Okay, I get it. It's like, oh, okay, and then that's it. Even this Alien game that I recently reviewed, and also as well the Evil Within. They just jump out at you. That's basically when you play these games like Resident Evil 4 and whatnot. Even those they do all. That's all they pretty much. When they say, are these games scary at you? That's all you're doing. It's you're in this dark area, you know, and boom, they scare at you. I like Dead Space, not necessarily for the scares, quote unquote, but I actually liked it for the actual gameplay and the mystery and the excitement and the tension building before the actual scare. I thought that was well done, and when you truly have one of these horror games, we played Corey and Chris. They streamed one earlier this year that they were screaming, like little girls, as they said, for periods of time. But overall, when they came to reviewing the game, they gave the game a 5.5 because there was really, for every scare that they had, there was no gameplay to consistently at all to speak of. So when we're talking about these scary games, whatnot, yeah, they might provide the same jump out at you when you're not expecting it type deal, but I don't know. It just all depends on the rest of the game as a whole, and that's why Resident Evil 4 and that's why Dead Space and some others really hold up, is because the actual outside of just the scare and the ambiance and the whole presentation is really good. But to me, still, there's nothing like you running and you're getting bludgeoned by these zombies in Left 4 Dead 2, and you're just like running. Even today, we could go on Left 4 Dead 2 right now and just I'll be screaming, like crazy, just and then I'll just probably leave you behind and just every man for himself or woman for himself. So, boom,
Yeah.
goodbye, gotta go. But no, I remember those times dearly when we were playing hardcore Left 4 Dead 2, and really it was just truly adrenaline pumping and really really scary for me because I'm always thinking what's right. They're all right around you and they start attacking you anyway. So, um, for you, sir, what would be scary?
I would say Silent Hill. Silent Hill was terrifying, especially and they've progressively gotten worse in terms of the.
Well, hopefully the new one, Silent Hills, will be a return to that. Because if you play have you played the PT download?
I haven't. I've watched it several times. I think, and again, I haven't played all of the Silent Hills, every single one of them, because I know there are some various ones I think came out on PSP, and um, I think the original Silent Hill that had came out, and I still remember when I was younger, going into the game store, and I was with somebody else, and we had picked up that game unknowing at the time of what it what it actually was, and I still remember that game was terrifying. It was terrifying, and it was a terrifying in a way that a lot of games don't. Basically, it doesn't do what what you had indicated that many of the games do now. It wasn't the cheap scare tactics. It was true terror. It was being in complete and pitch darkness and trying to fiddle around rooms with a flashlight, and then not even it's more you discovering the enemy, and when the enemy was like, in the room with you the entire time. And and as they've gotten, I think as the games have changed, they unfortunately, in some iterations of the newer Silent Hill titles, they've kind of changed that style of survival horror. But as I've seen in PT, in the PT demo, they're bringing a lot of those elements back, and really I think the game that really from memory that's terrified me was Silent Hill. But
well, fair enough then. Blah! Tried to scare you. Didn't work, did it? Okay. All right. What does that say for the rest of our show, man?
I'd say that is about a wrap.
Okay. Well, we want to thank everyone for joining us on this special annual Halloween podcast. I'm sorry, there's like no there's no animatronics behind us. But still, we appreciate you joining us again. We're yourgamesource.com. Catch us on GameSource on Facebook, yourgamesource.com, or GameSource on YouTube, and then also as well at GameSource on Twitter. Definitely appreciate you watching or listening, whether you just download this and listen to the car, or you're actually watching this on the big screen, because PlayStation 4 now has that YouTube app, so you got to use it, and there's no better way to use it than watching us right on the big screen. Isn't that right?
Yep, that it is.
That's it. So did you do the update yet?
I haven't really been home recently, so probably not.
Okay, so careful, because it might blow up your computer, because people have been reporting issues with that new update 2.0. But, you go try it first. You try it first, you text me. If it's okay to do it, I'll go ahead and do it as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad I could always be the guinea pig.
Of course.
Well, thanks again, folks, for joining us. Until the next Game Source podcast, which will hopefully be our Black Friday special.
Or sooner, because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Well, have a happy Halloween, and until next time.
Who are you?
I am SOS Rage, or the Angry Bearhead.
And I am not your daddy, because I'm not your daddy. Woo, howdy. Happy Halloween, everyone. Be safe out there, and have lots of candy. Peace.
Oh my gosh. This has been another Game Source Halloween special. We'd like to thank you for watching, I think. I'm so scared right now. I lost everybody. This show's over. I don't know what to do. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared again. Oh my gosh. 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 I don't know what to do. Remember, www.yourgamesource.com for all your latest video game needs. So scared. At GameSource, tweet us on Twitter at GameSource. Follow us on Facebook at GameSource. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. I can't find anyone. I can't find my friends. What was that noise? Bonnie. Jamie. Game Source. Oh my God! You're not scary. Gerald, the Halloween special's over. We're working. Is that right? Yeah. This has been a Game Source production. Bye. Bye. Goodbye.
Do you love games, breathe games, and bleed games? Then this is the crew for you. If you are interested in editorial, podcasting, live events, and exclusive content, make sure to hit us up at info@yourgamesource.com and become part of a team that is dedicated to delivering all the greatest and latest in gaming news and content, all here at yourgamesource.com.